Saying, sure, you ain't got a clock in here.
It's endless time in here, Thomas. Endless time.
Okay, it's time. We'll go ahead and call the Human Resource meeting to order.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, giving thanks for all things. We allow you to allow us to come together on one accord to conduct county business as representatives for the county. We ask that you allow us to make decisions that are pleasing in your sight. We ask that you give us wisdom, insight, and knowledge to make these decisions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Okay, first item on the agenda is consideration of the increased request for position of bookkeeper in the Garland County Treasurer's Office, and there was a letter attached. Hope everybody had an opportunity to read, but time county motion.
Move for
Second.
Okay, you got a motion by Justice Dixon and
Brown.
second Justice Brown. Any other discussion? Here being none, all in favor of the motion, let me know by vote saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here being none, forward to go. The next was consideration of a request updating position, description and changes title for the telecompter supervisor level 4 to telecompter training supervisor level 4. And I'll entertain a motion on that one. Okay, motion by Justice Rainey, second by Dr. Peters. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by vote saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here be none, move forward to no. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we'll call to order the interviews for the applicant for coroner of Garland County due to the resignation and retiring of past coroner Stuart Smedley. We've got 4 applicants tonight. First one beginning with Mr. Jason Neighbors. I'll have him come up. Jason, if you want to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and say a little something about yourself if you want to. And then we're going to start asking questions with Justice number 1 and just go around and continue till we take up all of the 30 minutes we can. I think it is, Jason. Look, is the green light on?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Okay. All right. My name is Jason Neighbors. I was born and raised right here in Garland County. I'm 47 years old, almost 47. I have 4 kids. Been with the coroner's office now for almost 12 years. Work at Hot Springs Village Fire Department as well. I've been there for 23 years. I've been in the fire service since I was 13 years old as a volunteer, as a cadet. 4 grandkids. So working on quite the family.
Just 1 second. There are no other applicants for this position in here currently, correct? Go ahead, Micah.
All right. You said you worked for the coroner's office for 12 years. You're acting coroner.
Yes.
Over those 12 years, you were appointed to this position. Is there any changes you would like to see made?
To the coroner's office?
Yes.
The only thing would be just internally, a few things, more electronic, more streamlined that way.
Yeah.
As far as the way the job's done, no, sir. Our office is, we go by the national standard on what we do. I would like to see our office get accredited, which is it's quite a feat to get done. There's a lot of things you have to do to get accredited. We've been working on that for the past 3 or 4 years. Just never made it that far yet to get it all done. But I would like to see us be accredited.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Jason, know there are certain standards that you need to be accredited to be coroner, and that the state and federal, I guess, requires you to have. And when I look at past coroner, I would just ask you if your certification is equal to what he had, or if there's anything that you still need to be certified in to have the certifications that he had.
Yes, sir. I am nationally certified, just like Stuart. I'm also state certified. I'm certified in aquatic death, certified in infant death. I'm certified in everything that he was certified in.
So you would be pretty much full time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neighbors, for coming in for the interview. What do you think sets yourself apart from the other applicants that make you the ideal candidate for the position?
It's a good question. And I know some of the other applicants, and I know they're great men. And but what sets me apart is I am the only one that's qualified actually for a medical legal death investigator. As far as your certifications and the schooling that you have to go through to do that, I am, as far as I know, the only one. Oh, I'm the only one that's nationally certified. There's only 17 of us in the state of Arkansas, so I know none of the other applicants are.
And how long have you been holding that certification?
The national state since 2014, national since 2017.
Okay, thank you.
This on. In different circumstances of different deaths, there's probably a longer period of time you would have to spend on certain types of situations. How long would you have to, on let's say the most extreme investigative type of death? how many hours would you have to put in?
It's funny you asked that. I've got one across the street that I've been working on since December 30th.
Mhm.
So several weeks now, I've been working with the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office on this one specific case, and he's still at our facility. There's a lot of hours that go into it. Motor vehicle accidents, especially, we have to go out and notify the family, we have to go out and we draw blood on and all that, and work with the state police to make sure they get all what they need. Uh, but those homicides are our biggest ones that we spend
Mhm.
sometimes weeks, and then I'm working a month now with this one across the street.
Thank you. Uh, Another question. Um, do you hold another job at a fire department?
Yes, sir, I do currently. If I'm appointed, I will retire from
Okay,
the other
thank you.
position.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. That's all.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you perceive that you work with your staff? And is there anything that you might want to change?
Work with my staff right now. We're we've got a new dynamic because of Stuart leaving, and he and I have our own leadership styles, I would guess you'd say. Uh, his more gruff than mine. But I would say we're an 8 right now. We're still trying to find we work well together. We work very well together. We have one new hire that we hired back in October. So we're still trying to get the mesh down, but I'd say right now we're at 8 already.
If you don't mind, would you turn your mic on, please, Ray?
There we go. I think you got it right now. Okay. Why do you think that you'd be the best candidate for this job?
I just have the experience with it. I have the experience working with local law enforcement authorities. I'm on a first name basis with Hot Springs PD officers, uh, Garland County Sheriff, state police, FBI locally, attorneys' offices. It would be, uh, I believe it would be a seamless transition that would set me apart from the other candidates. Would be more seamless for me going forward versus them having to kind of work themselves into that role.
Thank you.
Jason, just before I ask my question, I just want to say my uncle passed away about 2.5 years ago, and it was the first thing in the morning after a federal holiday, and you were the coroner who responded, and you were there very quickly. So I thank you for that, and I think that shows that you're very good at your job. A question I want to ask the other candidates, just to let you know, is if they were to be appointed, would they keep you as their chief deputy? The question I have for you is, if you were to not be appointed, would you still remain on as chief deputy?
Um, well, honestly, I promised my wife that I would go down to one job, so I don't know that monetarily if I could stay uh, as the chief deputy on the side, but uh, without if I quit my other job, I wouldn't making near the money I would, so probably not, honestly.
Thank you for your honesty. Appreciate it. My name is Jason Brazil. My question is, this is an appointment to finish out a term, and you wouldn't be able to run immediately following this. So do you not have any interest in running after this?
No, sir. With the fire department, working there 12 years, and with the time I've got in APRS, I can already retire. So my goal was to just finish out Stewart's term and and actually be the coroner for a few years, and then let somebody else take the reins after that.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Brian Peters for District 9. My question is, can you give me one thing that you would bring to Garland County if you were the coroner?
Experience and experience, education.
Thank you.
they've asked all my questions. So I think probably I would like to find out if, as far as running a department, do you have very conservative values as far as overseeing that department, the being a good steward with the taxpayers funds for Garland County?
Yes, ma'am. I've worked with budgets throughout my career at the fire department. I'm a supervisor at the fire department, uh, as well as over here, and I've worked with Stewart on the budgets. One thing Stewart's taught me is to be frugal with your budget, and so, yes, I would be very conservative with the monies.
Jason, as a chief deputy, approximately how many hours do you put in weekly or monthly versus what if you're appointed as a coroner, would you be?
I'm working. When I was chief deputy, I'd work 40 hours a week. That's what I put in a week. Um, I've been working the same amount call wise, but way more, probably 10 or 15 more hours on the phone, dealing with different things with the crime lab and FBI agent, U.S. Attorney's Office. So, yeah, it's gone up about another 10 or 15 hours a month or a week.
Safely to say more of a 55, 60 hour plus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So most of my questions have already been asked and answered. You have no interest in actually holding the office beyond the 3 years of the appointment, knowing that it's an appointment you can't run. So your expertise that you already have and can offer the position, you wouldn't want to carry that forward.
That is correct.
I'm Larry Reddy. Like Jeremy, I had some questions, but most of the items have been covered. It seems to me that in your job you have irregular hours. You don't know when you're going to be called out and what time, and that has an impact on your family.
Yes, sir.
How is this job going to impact your family, and do you have a support mechanism there from the wife and the family?
I do. I've been working anywhere from 100 to 120 hours a week for the past 8 years, holding two full-time jobs. So this would actually almost be like a semi-retirement. I mean, for 60 hours a week. So I support there, and they're wanting me to go down to one job, and and they really want me to do this job. So I've got the support.
Good. One last question, if you would indulge me, and that is, you've answered a lot of questions about how you address the job. Currently, we have a coroner and 2 deputies. Do you see the structure staying the same, or what's the workload like compared to you have 3 persons, basically, that's what it is.
We have right now. We have coroner, chief deputy, and 3 deputies.
The 3
So
deputies.
there's 5 of us, and the 2 part-time deputies work 20 hours a week. Full-time deputies work 40 hours.
Okay. See it staying the same?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Michael, get another one.
Jason, I've got one more because I heard you say that you work about 60 hours a week. So if you've got 3 part-time workers and the chief deputy, why are you working so many hours?
Well, the way the schedule works is, I mean, you would think it'd be an administrative role, but it's really not. I mean, it's a working, uh, it's a working elected official. I would still have to cover part of that call, which is about 40 hours plus a week. Um, could I could I delegate that? Probably, and I could look at doing that. Um, I've already got um, one of the deputies that does the scheduling and stuff like that right now. So I could look at doing some more stuff like that. I mean, I hadn't really got settled in good yet because I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I hadn't really made a lot of plans. But yes, we could probably work out where I wouldn't have to put as many hours in.
Yeah, I would think that would be something you would need to work on.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Neighbors, how closely did your position as deputy mirror the position of the coroner? And how would that in turn help you in your position if you were to be selected as the coroner?
So, Coroner Smedley and I have worked together for 12 years. And when he made me chief deputy 8 years ago, he started schooling me on the more of the office stuff, and he started schooling me on how to deal with people and how to deal with the crime lab. They're very different, different agencies that you have to work with. And I went with him to different meetings with those entities, and I've seen how he interacted with them, and so it's helped me to become more confident working with these other agencies, and it's got me on a first name basis with all these agencies. Also, he when he would go out of town on vacation, whatever, he would leave me in charge. So it gave me time over the 8 years to kind of see what the role was and how to answer questions and the phone calls you get from the deputies, stuff like that when they had questions about different calls and cases.
Thank you.
Jason, those are under you or whoever were in this position. What are they limited to versus the coroner as far as going out to an individual death that they couldn't do?
They do the same exact thing. They can certify, they can pronounce deaths, they can certify deaths, do the death certificates, they can do the whole.
So their qualifications have to be almost equal to yours.
In the state of Arkansas, you have 1 year to become state certified.
Mhm.
You don't have to become nationally certified, but you have 1 year to become state certified. So they hold that same state certification.
Mhm. Thank you.
If you are selected, what would be your procedures to train your ultimate replacement 3 years down the road?
What would be my procedures to replace?
To
Well, right now, I'm trying to get, Stuart was working on it as well, but I'm trying to get all our staff uh, up to the national certification level. I'm been trying to let the staff talk to these other entities, a lot of times it was just given the steward to talk to the crime lab if they had a problem with something, even if it was somebody else's case. So I'm trying to let them do more of that too, where they can talk to the crime lab and get that one-on-one with them. So I've been trying to let them do more. And like I said, also I'd like to see every one of us be the national standard.
So if I'm correct on that, then what you would see one of your responsibilities, if you're selected, is to fairly shortly after taking office, would be to begin to train your replacement.
I can't understand it that way.
You guys speak into the mic just a little bit more, if you would, please,
Okay.
just no one.
If I understand it correctly, then if you're selected, then shortly after that, you would begin to train one or more people to replace you 3 years down the road.
Yes, sir. I've always been schooled in you always want to replace you always want to school somebody to replace you. Everybody that's under you. That's how we do it at the fire department. That's how I'll do it at the coroner's office. Every one of them will get the same training. I don't know who will run in 3 years, but they'll all have the capability and the qualifications to run.
Thank you.
Jason, I've got a question, and if you don't feel comfortable answering this question, you don't have to. But would you feel comfortable sharing your political affiliation, what political party you affiliate yourself with?
Well, I'll preface it by saying I don't corner's position. I don't think is too much political, in my opinion, not a political position. But I I'm I have Republican views. I'm a Christian conservative, and I have Republican views.
I agree with your analysis of the coroner's office, and that's something I'm going to ask every candidate. Thank
Jason, I have one more question. Um, Doing the day-to-day, like you do is in prepared, is somewhat like being, you know, the job, but corner corner as a whole, the department is something that you're gonna be in charge of. Do you feel like you're prepared for that?
Yes, ma'am. I am prepared for that.
Okay, can you give us a little bit of information about why you feel like you're prepared?
I've been working with budget. Um, I've been working with um, HR for the last year. I've been with the FOIA requests, everything that all the administrative stuff that comes along with the position. I've actually been working with them and doing stuff with them with the finance committee. I've been helping put the budget together. Um, so I've got that schooling in those areas as well in the day-to-day operations.
Anyone have any more questions?
I've got one, and this is pretty much one of those questions that it goes back to your day to day. How do you communicate with family members when you notify them of a lost loved one?
So my approach, I was told or I was taught early on that you don't go up there and just mess around. I mean, my name is Jason Neighbors. I'm with the Garland County Coroner's Office. Are you the mother of such and such? Yes, I am. I hate to inform you that he's been killed in a motorcycle wreck. I, I don't, I don't.
Mr. Neighbors, excuse me. I, I'm sorry. Would you speak into your mic
Oh,
clearer?
sorry.
The rain has kind of overcome.
Okay, sorry about that. So I don't mess around when I tell them. I'm very compassionate by doing it, but I don't. They know why you're there to begin with, and there's no reason to tarry in the process of it.
I have a question that has to do with the physical plant and the budget that was submitted by Stewart. And for the 24 budget, he indicated that there was virtually nothing needed but replacing a couple of computers. Uh, a morgue requires some ongoing attention. There's things that can go wrong, things that you can outgrow. What's your approach, both long-term and short-term, with regard to the physical plant, the morgue, if you will?
Okay, so for the actual morgue or building, I wouldn't see it. It'd be my goal to get it remodeled, renovated, because we do have loved ones that come down there all the time, and it's outdated. I mean, the walk into it is just it's an old job, and honestly, we do need more of a cooler size. We over the last week have had our cooler full where we couldn't put one more person in it twice over the last week. I've had several go to the crime lab. When I come over here today, we were already on 120 calls since January 1st. So we've been extremely busy, and we've had multiple ones go to the crime lab. I've still got my guy from Oklahoma over there that's been working with the FBI on. So it's. I would like to see us expand our cooler size as well as renovate the building itself, our office itself, to make it a little more modern, just for the families.
Very good. Thank you.
this isn't a question. I just want to say thank you for the job that you do. I personally would not have the courage to do the job that you do, and I want to thank you as a first responder for what you do for our county. Jason,
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate that very much. So,
Anyone have any more questions? Jason, you got 3 or 4 minutes left if you want to expand anything that you said tonight when you started. If you got any information you want to share, you're welcome to, or if you have, you're welcome to go back in the rain.
well, I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I do appreciate y'all. I'm not sitting here trying to candy coat it. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate your time for listening to me. Um, I think we've made great strides in the coroner's office over the last 12 years, or well, ever since Stuart took over, but since I've been there 12 years, we've come a long, long way. Y'all don't realize what we really had with Stuart. He's known all over the United States. People call him from all over the United States to ask his opinion on this, and it's crazy. And I was blessed to learn under that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I have people call me from out throughout the state to ask me questions about what I think about a death or something they've seen that they've never seen before. So I feel blessed that I was able to work under that, and I'd love to see us continue that with the coroner's office.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it very much. Um, we will make an appointment next Monday night. And if we need to come back, we'll let you know. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Front and center. They don't know how to do that, Rick. If you would just give a little introduction, introduce yourself to them, and say a few things if you want to, and then they'll start asking questions. We'll proceed around the room, and we got about 30 minutes here to ask as many questions as I can.
Okay. Well, my name is Rick Albaugh. I'm a retired paramedic. I worked for the last 6 coroners in Garland County, starting with Wojciech and Daryl Daniels, Dr. Mashburn, Dr. Gardner, Dr. Shelby, and Stewart. I think that's about it. And I was I enjoy going to a house on natural. Not that somebody's died. I'm not happy about that. But I think I have the skills as a deacon at my church to be able to sit down with people and talk to them in a Christian manner because I've just walked into a house of someone that is having the worst day of their life because they just lost their spouse or a child or a parent, something. And they need to have faith in me before I even go back to that bedroom or wherever the body is. And so I always talk to him before I go in. That's one thing I get upset about Dr. Mashburn. He wouldn't say nothing to nobody. He'd just go right back there. And I totally disagreed with that. And I told him, and he said, "Well, you're not the coroner." So anyway, um, what else can I tell you? Uh, 38 years as a paramedic in Garland County. And I started out as an EMT with the Hot Springs Garland County Ambulance Service, which was the first ambulance service. And Daryl knows that he was our education equipment back then. And we worked a lot of scenes together. And all scenes are important because it's somebody, family member, and I try to treat them all that way. Uh, Unfortunately, sometimes when you want a person's house, um, and a sibling was taking care of mom or dad, and the other sibling shows up, and they're gonna have a fault with that sibling that, "What did you do that mom or dad died?" I've heard that too many times. So you got to be able to work in that argument, and, I've had the sheriff's office just remove a guy. He was horrible to his sister, and he had never taken care of his mother, but he had to find fault with her at that day, and so you see all kinds of stuff, and I'm not gonna say I've seen it all because you never see it all. There's always something else around the corner. Yes.
M- All right. All right. My name is Micah Brodden, and so I have a two-part question. When did you stop working as deputy coroner?
Um, a year before I retired as paramedic, I told, Stewart that I wanted to go ahead and have more time at home because I worked a 24-hour shift on the ambulance, and the next morning, I was 24 hours as a deputy coroner, and then the second day was my day off, and then I go back to the ambulance, and I just well, it probably wasn't the whole year that I left the coroner's office, but, I just wanted to have more time at home. I was looking forward to retirement and everything, so
Um, and the second part of the question, what's making you rethink the retirement and getting back in?
because I think, Garland County needs a coroner. I'm not saying anything bad about Jason. He's a good guy, but if he's not willing to give up that job at the fire department, I think that's wrong because we need a 24 a a coroner that's gonna be available all the time, unless he's out of town or sick or something, and I've just seen too much in the past where, Stewart's really the only coroner that we've had in Garland County that was available 24/7, and it doesn't mean you're gonna be doing anything, but you're at least available to answer a question from one of the deputies or something.
All right. Thank you,
Does that
Mr.
answer
Oswald.
your question?
Yes, sir.
I can't wait for this one.
Well, I've known you for more than 30 years, so I guess you can't. But, and I was looking at the list of people that you worked under, and I knew most of them too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we go way back.
We do. I remember you just said something about Dr. Mashburn, that he was a character.
That's putting it lightly.
But anyway, Rick, you've been retired for a while, and I believe you said you had certifications for everything except maybe the national is the one that you don't have, do you? That's
I
national certification.
You're talking about for the coroner's office? No, that's something that I would have to go to school for because I don't know when the national certification came up for coroners. That's probably something that Stewart found. Stewart was really involved in the, Arkansas Coroners Association, and he kept comparing. I'm not saying anything bad about Stewart, but one thing that I found wrong was he kept caring, uh putting Garland County up against Pulaski County and other things, and that's where the big salary thing came from. And, I I was very surprised that he got that salary. I can go ahead and tell you that, I will not keep that salary. I would ask you to lower it so I could hire a paramedic, and I've got one in mind that could, we could, like, rotate and then maybe have another couple deputy coroners that could work maybe 1 day a week each, and that way nobody gets wore out. Did I get off away from your question?
No, actually, you helped me with the next question because I was wondering about the salary, because salary that Stewart was getting was, uh, tied to the certifications that he had. So with not being national certified and
I
state,
don't know what national certification would
so,
do for the people in Garland County.
yeah.
As
So
long as I get certified by the state of Arkansas, I think that'd be good enough.
okay, so that was going to be one of my questions. If the salary was lower, would you still be interested
Oh,
in?
yeah, because that's one thing I would ask them to do, because, you could split that salary and have a coroner and a chief deputy coroner, in my opinion. All I gotta make is $5 more than the other one.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll go ahead and pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arbaugh, for coming in. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the first applicant. What do you think sets you apart from the other applicants, and what do you think makes you the best person for the position?
I'm not saying I'm the best. There's always somebody that's better.
Why
But
should we select you?
okay, I would hope you could select me because of my time in service and my reputation. Um, you can ask anybody at the ambulance service. I worked for Garland County Ambulance Service, LifeNet, I mean, Life Mobile and LifeNet as a paramedic. And in an ambulance, you have a time with the patient. And I really enjoyed that because you see them either get better or they get worse. And God allowed me to be able to share things with people in the back of the ambulance because I sort of had a captive audience, and I saw a lot of good things happen in the ambulance and on coroner's calls. And I'm not afraid of my telling you that I'm a Christian. I'm a deacon at my church. And if I get a chance to share Jesus with somebody, I'm going to do it. And I've had a lot of people thank me for that. But I know I'm saying more than what you asked. Did I answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. 50 to 60 hours is what the previous candidate stated that he expected to be working if he were made the
That's a little
coroner.
that's
You
over.
believe you can
Oh, yeah, that's only
get up
2
to that
days, a
speed?
little over 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should say this, but
Don't say it.
he did say to my question that he would leave the fire department if he got this job.
Well,
So
he is gonna quit?
yes, he did. That was
Well,
his answer. Yeah.
that's different then. Jason's a good guy. And let me just say this to you. Jason deserves a chance. I really believe that. But I didn't know if he was going to give up that job at the village. And I've been asked to do this, and I said I would. But if he's willing to give up that job, then I think you guys owe him a chance because right now he's the coroner anyway. He's for the whole month of January, he's been doing the job. I haven't heard anything. Of course, I'm not in the loop anymore, but have y'all heard anything bad? Everything probably went good. I don't know. But so I'm not gonna um, try to get his job because I really think that Jason deserves a shot at it.
Yeah, I didn't say that to make any negative toward you, just so you would know. And
I
you did
know
make a
because
comment regarding
that's
if he
one of the
did
things I
resign,
was
it would
gonna
make a
ask
difference
you
to you.
guys at the end was, did he answer that question?
Yeah.
And I could have saved you a lot of time, but I would be utmost thankful if you chose me, but I think that Jason needs a chance to do it, and maybe I could work for him. I'm just anxious to get back into it. Marcia says, "You're nuts," but
Thank you
no,
for
she
your
didn't
honesty.
really say that.
Thank you for your honesty. That was good. That was great. Refreshing.
I appreciate your personal caring attitude and what you've expressed. And how long have you been out of the day to day?
I retired from the ambulance in December 31st of 16, no, of 15. When January 16 got here, I was no longer a paramedic, and it was at least 6 months before that that I told Stuart I wanted to quit being on call because I was looking forward to retirement, and now I'm ready for action. But no,
So what kind of changes do you think you would need to do to be able to get back on running the ship?
well, I would one of the first thing I would want to do is come up with a staff, and then I would want to get with the crime lab and see what changes have been made there. I know how we used to send bodies to the crime lab, but that's been several years ago, and I'm sure they have different policies, different paperwork, and I would need to get you know up on all the new paperwork and uh, try to start going through. Hopefully, a lot of the information it takes now for a coroner is online, and I could take the tests or whatever online. I hope I wouldn't have to leave the county to take courses because that's just taking the coroner out of his county. So I'm hoping that a lot of the information I need to do can be done online. Did that answer your question?
Did. Thank you for responding to my question.
Rick, I thank you. Like my colleague on the other side said, for your character and your honesty. You've been a very good interviewer. I enjoy your pleasantry, and I would ask you your political affiliation, but I know your wife Marcia, and I know the answer to that question already. She's a wonderful lady. I appreciate all she does for everybody. So you've expressed that you would be willing to come back if we didn't appoint you as coroner, as potentially one of Jason's deputy coroners. Knowing that he's going to retire from the fire department, do you still think that you would recommend for this body to appoint you instead of Jason?
That's up to you. I wouldn't want to go there. I mean,
I like that answer. I like that answer a lot. Thank you, Rick.
My name is Jason Brazil, and I was just going to ask, this is an appointment to finish out a term, and you could not run for this position after this
I
appointment.
understand that.
So you have no intention of running?
No.
All righty. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Brian Peters from District 9, and my question would be is if you could give us one word answer or anything, what would you bring to the Garland County Coroner's Office that it may not currently have, something that you could bring to the office?
A Christian attitude, maybe. In EMS, you hear a lot of vulgarity, and that was one of the things about me and my partner, Rick Dodd, when we went to the nursing home in the village. I'm just saying, the old paramedics they send to the village. But I really think they do that because the old paramedics are the ones that have learned so much through the years. And what was your question?
Just a quality that you would bring to the Garland County Coroner's Office.
I would do the best that I can.
I appreciate that.
And I always know that if you mess up, somebody's going to hear about it.
Thank you.
That's Dr. Mashburn.
Okay, my question would be, one of the other justices asked about the certification that you would need. Do you currently know what you would be lacking and what kind of time frame it would be for you to kind of get in and actually get the ball rolling?
I don't know. But I feel like I could go to work immediately because I haven't forgot how to work a scene, whether it's a home death a natural or a homicide or an accidental death or a suicide. They all are a little bit different, but I haven't forgot those skills. It's just the new paperwork and everything that has been changed in the last years. I'm not current on that, but
Okay, follow up on that is, have you worked with Jason in the past, and did you feel like that you could work with him closely again?
yes, Jason and I and Stuart worked together. And, I worked every third day if he needed me to, and sometimes he didn't need me to. But that's the way Jason and I did it. He'd work at the fire department, and his next day he would take call, and I did the same thing. But it was scattered. But Stuart took a lot of the call too. I mean, he wasn't like some of the others that thought their job was to sit in the office and let us do all the work. I'm being honest with you.
Right.
And that's why one of our doctors quit, because he got tired of having to go on scenes.
And I have one more follow-up, Judge. Did you work I know Jason said he was at the department for 12 years. Did you work that entire time with him on your 30-year tenure there?
I don't know how long. I was there before Jason came on. But like I said, I've worked for I never got fired from any of them, but like Dr. Garner quit because he didn't know what he was getting into. He thought it was more working at a desk and anyway. But Dr. Shelby, I will tell you this, Dr. Shelby thing, it changed things for the coroner's office because him being a ER physician, he has seen everything we see in the field. He had gunshot wounds come in, burns, people from a accident that were broken to pieces. And so he knew what we were doing and he got involved. I remember the first call he went on, I went with him. It was a fire in Hot Springs and 2 people were killed. And he says, "How do you do this?" There's always a smell with a death. I understand that there was a explosion today somewhere, and a member of our church, her daughter and ex-husband were killed in a house because he had emphysema, he was on oxygen, and he smoked cigarettes. Well, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out that's what caused the explosion in the house.
Thank you, Mr. Albaugh.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir, it did.
Yes, sir, Mr. Rick. From what I understand, you're more than capable of performing the duties of the coroner, chief deputy. How about the administrative duties that possibly the paperwork that's changed since you retired in 2015?
That would be the thing I would have to get oriented to. But I have a lady at the house that's a real good secretary. Sure. And I think she could help me when she's not doing Republican stuff. I'm sorry, but
you're fine. Thank you.
Judge knows what I'm talking about.
What, if anything, would you change at the coroner's office?
Nothing until I see a need for a change. I think I know it worked real well under Stuart, and I don't think much probably changed in this last month. Stuart did the county a good job. I mean, he needs to be thanked for his service, but I would definitely want to probably make 2 salaries out of his salary.
Coming into this, should you be appointed, you have a distinct advantage of knowing exactly when your job will end. And at that point, you know that somebody else will have to run that unit. How do you propose to mentor the other existing deputy coroners, so the possibility of having one of them qualified to take the position if they choose to run?
You know, I don't know who the deputy coroners are now, but I would try to use all of them. But part of your question, I really didn't understand at the end. If they wanted to become the coroner, is that what you asked?
Yes.
I would say go for it. You know, I hope Stuart's not upset that I'm here. I don't think he is because he trained me and, you know, we work together good. And I don't know what else I can tell you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Anyone have any more questions for Mr. Rick? Rick, feel free to expand on anything that you've already said. If you've got some notes you want to read or something else you want to say about yourself, feel free to. You got a few minutes left.
I would say one thing. I wrote down all the coroners I worked for, like I did on your thing, but there was on the list that I made, I put the sheriff's office came behind Dr. Mashburn. Dr. Mashburn. It was after Dr. Garland, Gardner, because he quit instead of Dr. Mashburn. I wish it had been the other way, but I don't know how many people in here knew Dr. Mashburn. I know you did. He was a dandy, wasn't he?
He was.
Yes. Well, you should have worked for him. That's why Marcia says, man, if you can work for all those people, maybe they'll listen to what I'm saying anyway. But I'm not trying to take Jason's job. I really am. Now that I know that he's willing to do it full time, because, when I would have probably run sooner for coroner if I hadn't have been, but I enjoyed my job as paramedic because that's where I was saving lives or helping save lives. And this way you're just taking care of a dead life and being with the family when you can, and that's important to me. And I would expect that if you choose me, I would expect that of my deputy coroners that if they feel like they need to stay, they can stay there and visit with the people for a while. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to leave as soon as you get all their medicines together and everything, and the funeral home comes and leaves. I know I'm jabbering.
Anybody have anything else?
Somebody asked me a hard question. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for coming tonight. I know the weather's bad and Marcia had to encourage you to get up here, but I thank you for coming and I thank you for applying as well.
Listening to me.
Thank you, Rick.
You have a good evening, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would come forward to the podium there and introduce yourself, tell us a little something about yourself, whatever you want to. Then we're going to start here and work our way around with questions. They may have more than one question, so they may come back to and ask again. But just introduce yourself and get us started, and we'll do our best to ask you questions as we go around.
So my name is Jared Wilson. I've lived in Hot Springs since...
You may have to direct that mic up just a little bit. You can hold it if you want to. You don't have to leave it in there.
Jared Wilson. I've lived in Hot Springs since 2009. I've worked for CHI, St. Vincent Orthopedic Clinic, and specifically Dr. Chris Young for that entire time. Married, have 3 kids, and just really enjoy being in Hot Springs.
So your current job, if you were to get appointed to this position, would you be willing to, or would you be leaving your other job, or would you be trying to keep it?
No, I'd be keeping the job, but ultimately I'm available all the time. I'm used to being on call, day and night, weekends, and I'm always available to email, text, call. Of course, I'm going to rely on some teamwork during that process, but I don't plan on leaving the job. I just plan on having a great team around me and being available at all times to oversee and be in the field as much as I possibly can.
Okay. The current acting coroner is said something 50 to 60 hours a week. You'd be able to add that onto your current workload?
I mean, I'd be able to add as much as I possibly could. Yeah, as far as taking call, I'd be willing to, be on call on the weekends, like I said, and add that time to serve this office. Yes, I would.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Wilson, you would have some time constraints, that's what I understand.
You said time constraints?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if it's time constraints. I mean, I do have like I said, a normal job, but I'm in clinic a lot. So I'm available here and there to field calls, field questions, to review charts and different things. And I'll make time for that.
I was just reading something here that I saw that talked about you give it your best absolute leadership for that office. So I guess that indicates that whether you're there or not, you would be pretty much taking the lead role in leading that office.
Yes, sir. I do believe in a team approach, but I also believe that, someone's got to take the lead and just make sure the policies and procedures are followed to a high standard that like they should be. But I do believe that, yes, someone needs to be in the lead and be able to have the final decision and be able to know what to do and not to do when the time comes. Yes, sir.
So that 40 plus hours that you're talking about could include phone calls or emails or all of that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. With being in the field as much as, like I said, as much as I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wilson, what do you think sets you apart from the other candidates or the other applicants that will help you to be the best person for this position? You said that you're going to be doing both. If you were selected, you would hold both positions.
Yes,
what makes you the best candidate to hold both positions and be an effective coroner?
I just feel like I have a unique experience of just being able to, for the last 14 and a half years, have conversations with thousands of families and patients and dealing with all kinds of issues, good, bad, and otherwise. And I feel like what sets me apart is that, what I'm going to bring is integrity. We're going to do things the right way. We're going to do things the way they're supposed to be done. But we're also going to do that with empathy and compassion for these families. And ultimately, I just feel like I have a lot to offer. I just feel like I have served Garland County for several years, just the way we do things at work, the way we treat our patients, and the way we go above and beyond to take care of them, I would bring that into this and make sure my team follows suit.
A follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The current position that you have, that is considered a full-time position, and how would that work with this coroner position, if that's a full-time position, and this is basically would be considered a full-time position because you are on call 24/7?
Yes, ma'am. And like I said, ultimately, I would surround myself with people that I trust and then have good experience in several areas. And as I said, I'm available. Like I'm not going to be, oh, I can't talk right now. I'm not going to be the person who just shirks responsibility or shirks decision making. Like the responsibility is going to be mine if there needs to be a decision made, and I'm going to be available to make those decisions when the time comes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
At all?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Recently we experienced a couple of years ago a pandemic that absorbed a huge amount of time and resources from people in the medical community. Do you believe you could be in your position at Chi St. Vincent if that were to occur, God forbid, again, and then have to expand the time in a coroner's office that you would have to expand for a pandemic?
No, that's a tough question. Ultimately, it would just be that I would have to look at everything, and I would want to, if I decide to serve this office, I would want to, if something came up that there's that much increase in volume, that much increase in just the need to be present, then I think that's something I would look at very, very closely, and whatever I would have to do to do this job well and do this job right over the term that's left, I would do that.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
You've mentioned three good words: integrity and empathy and teamwork. What is your experience in management or managing a team?
Yeah, ultimately, I'm the senior PA in our group, so I don't necessarily have the title of manager, but I've been around, like I said, with Dr. Young for years, and I wear a lot of hats. I manage his. I mean, he's the boss. He's in charge of with what we do there. But like, I manage the patients. I take the difficult calls. I deal with the results. I deal with. I help manage a caseload. Number one. Number two, there's been a couple opportunities that I've had where I've been a part of a team to help lead an initiative to do things better or be on the cutting edge of different things as far as the way we do things at work. And I've been able to work together with people to implement certain strategies for say, just get people home sooner, safer, faster, and get people recovering better and quicker. And I was on the team that helped bring those like policies to light, and we ultimately implemented a lot of those policies. I was also on a team that helped shape the new pay structure for all the PAs and nurse practitioners at the hospital. But ultimately, I try to do a good job. There's nurses, there's medical assistants, there's radiology technicians that I put an order in. We decide how we're going to run things from day to day, and I help. I make a lot of those decisions, and juggling a lot of different things and a lot of different people, and trying to do that in a way that shows them respect and just develop a team atmosphere. That's what my experience has been.
Jared, you seem like you're very qualified in what you do, and you seem like a very busy guy. You may have answered to one of the other justices. What hours do you typically work in a week right now during the day? Are you 8 to 5, 9 to 5?
It just kind of depends. I mean, some days I'm at the hospital at 6:30. Some days I don't get to clinic till 7:30 or 8. It just depends on what's going on that day. And as far as I do typically, we've kind of honestly arranged our schedule to make our lives a little bit easier. So we try to get done around 4:30 or 5 o'clock as much as we can. Of course, being on call, traumas and things happen. Um, but so I mean, ultimately, anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day. But that's there are definitely days where I'm able to get done early, there's going to be days where I have extra time to be, like I said, to be present and to be a part of this as much as I possibly can.
But say on a day where there was a lot of procedures scheduled and you were there from 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, wouldn't you essentially be requiring strictly on your deputy coroners during that entire time, unless you were going to leave in the middle of a procedure at the hospital?
Yes, I would. But at the same time, if there's something pressing, again, I've discussed this thoroughly with the physician that I work with, and he supports me doing this. It's nothing I'm hiding or trying not to do for him. But ultimately, yes, I would, like I said, I'd place people around me that I trust that I know are going to do the right thing. And then at the same time, if they need something, I want to be there for them. And if there's something that's over and above, like there's a significant issue, then I feel like I could absolutely go to Dr. Young, and I would be allowed to go and help take care of a significant problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is an appointment to finish out a term, of course, and it's not really a long-term job necessarily. Are you aware that you would not be able to run right after this ran out?
Yes, sir.
I'm Dr. Brian from District 9, and my question would be, what would you bring to the Garland County Coroner's Office? Just if you could name it, tell us one thing above and beyond the other candidates, to pick you. What would you bring to the office?
Sure. Like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. There's good policies in place that my team and I would make sure that are up to a high standard. But I just believe that I could bring this office to a level of excellence that it should be. Like I said, that we're going to do things the right way, and we're going to make decisions and deal with people and families with integrity and empathy, and the things that should be going on.
We talked a lot about the certification for the coroner's position. So is that something that you currently have? Is that something that you're going to have to, if you're going to have to go and get this certification, what kind of time frame are you looking at as far as being able to get that and be ready to go on the job?
I've already been looking at. As soon as possible, I want to get the state and national certifications, and just like I said, do everything the right way and get as. I don't have them currently, but my plan would be, should be appointed if I was appointed, to get those as quickly as I possibly could to just be the leader I'm supposed to be. I need to be certified immediately, basically.
Thank you.
Jared, you've used the term your team.
Yes, sir.
Does that include any of the existing staff in place? Or are you planning on replacing them?
I mean, that's something I would sit down with each individual and discuss with them. It's my understanding that several of them, may not stay, but I have not spoken with them personally, but I do have a few people in mind that I really want on my team like I said, to me, it matters who's on my team, because I want to be able to, if there is a time where I'm a little too busy, or in the moment, that we've got to be able to trust each other and do the right thing. So, but ultimately, I would individually speak with those guys and make a decision that way. And if they want to stay, then I think that's something I absolutely would look into, of course.
Okay, would these individuals you have in mind have the certification, or would they need to be getting certified?
Absolutely. They will. they will be getting certified as soon as possible. One I know has been a coroner. I mean, been a deputy coroner before, and he's got a lot of experience. And so, but ultimately, yes, we're all going to be certified, and we're all going to work to get as much training as we can get. Just get off the ground running as quick as we can.
Thank you.
Can you identify anything in the coroner's office that may need to change or improve upon?
I mean, I'm not into he said or she said, but I mean, I'm sure that you've read articles that have happened, in the newspaper recently, or different comments and different things. I don't know anything about all that, but like I said, I just know that everything's going to be above board, and the policies and procedures are going to, like I said, be to a high standard of excellence, and we're gonna do things the way they're supposed to be done the right way.
Jared, do you see yourself in this position, if appointed, as being more administrative, active coroner, or a combination of the two?
I think it's going to be a combination. Of course, there's going to be a lot of administrating. I mean, like I said, I'm not hiding the fact that I'm trying to keep my current job, so there's going to be a lot of administrating. But as I said, I'm gonna do my fair share to be in the field and go on calls and be an active coroner, as much as I possibly can at the same time. So I would say combination.
As a follow-up, have you been in the coroner's office? Are you familiar with it? The physical plant, the morgue, if you will?
No,
have you been there?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Listen, I've got a question for you, because when I look at your cover letter, the third paragraph down, it talks about cooperate with the former deputy coroners, embalmers, nurses, registered nurse, Hot Springs Police Department investigators, and deputies that may be bidding on your team. So it seems to me like if you want to do that, you get a bit of maybe people that already work there.
I mean, those are just three people that I had in mind that are, like I said, that are people that are highly qualified and highly educated, and some people I trust greatly. And like I said, it was under my understanding that several of the current deputies weren't going to stay on. But again, I'm not coming here to just wipe away everything and start over and be like my way or the highway. I'm not doing that. But what I am going to do is individually assess each one of them and make a decision and go from there.
So I guess if you were appointed to this position, like, you'll be have a whole workload by yourself. If, because you're looking at people that you don't already have.
I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. I don't understand the question.
So you're gonna go in maybe and make you understand some people may leave if you get the job.
Well, like I said, I have a good core team of people that I know I want to be on my team, that we've already had discussions. And like I said, I'm going to individually assess each one of them, and if they want to stay and are going to want to be a part of what we have, then I'll absolutely talk. I'm not going to be the guy who's, like I said, I'm absolutely going to consider that. But if for some reason they all want to leave for some reason, then I have a lot of resources and a lot of people that will help me find the right people, and then I will ultimately choose the right people for the job. Yes, sir.
Jared, just to follow up on what Justice Anderson was talking about, you're partially right. The current chief deputy, Jason, expressed in a question I asked him earlier that he probably would not stay on if he was not the one to be appointed. So if you're looking at hiring 2 or 3 other coroners who already don't have the certifications, and you don't have the certification, who's going who's going to be our coroner in the meantime while y'all are getting those certifications if we were to appoint you?
And like I said, that's something I'd have to look into. I'm going to do things the right way, but it's under my understanding that we have a year to do that. But at the same time, it's my understanding that, I want to get it done as quick as possible. And, if there's people with experience that are qualified to be in this administration, then I'm absolutely willing to keep them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've got another question. This relates directly to the job. How would you communicate with family members when notifying them of a relative?
I mean, there's two things that I know about people, and they want two things. Number one is they want you to truly care about what they're going through, and number two, they want you to be honest with them. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad or ugly, they want you to be honest with them, and that's what we're gonna do.
Anybody have any more questions for Mr. Wilson? If not, feel free to expand on anything you've said, or if you want to add something to any of the questions that were asked. You got a few minutes left. If you'd like to just say some more things about yourself or your history or your plans, or expand on anything that you've answered so far, feel free to.
Well, I just want to thank you for being here tonight on this rainy night, and like I said, I do feel called to serve. I've felt that way, and my whole life, and whether it's just whether it's serving in the community, whether it's serving at church, whether it's serving by, like you see in one of the letters, like that we foster kids. Like our goal in life as a family is to serve, and I feel like this position is that. Yes, there's policies, yes, there's procedures, yes, there's all the things you have to do the right way, correctly, but it's our job to serve the community, and those, the deceased and their families deserve, empathy. They deserve respect, and they deserve for us to do things the right way for them. And that's what I want to bring. Like I said, I've said this multiple times, but I just want to bring this just administration up to the standard of excellence that it should be. And I just appreciate your consideration.
Jared, just one more question. I want to be fair because I forgot to ask, and I'd asked the other two applicants.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of great recommendation letters here from two well-respected men in our community, Dr. Doug Ross and State Representative Les Warren. I assume because of the recommendation from Les Warren that is your political affiliation. Are you a Republican?
I mean, I don't really pick one or the other. I'm a Christian who leans conservative, yes, but I'm not some staunch Trumper, and I'm not some left winger. I just look at the issues. But yeah, I do lean conservative, yes.
Thank you.
I have one last question. You mentioned you had a young family, I believe.
Yes,
I took it that they're your young children. Between your duties at CHI and coroner, it seems to me like that's an awful lot of hours you're taking away from family. Is your wife, and you discussed this? I'm saying that I know what that's like. I've lived that life where you have only 24 hours a day, but you're trying to cram in, 8 or 10 extra hours a day worth of work. And it's sometimes it's hard to do, and it pulls you away from the family.
Yes, sir. No, I'm glad you asked that. We've absolutely discussed it, and we've talked about it a lot. We've prayed about it together, and she supports me, and luckily we're blessed to be able to work together, and no matter what is going on, I make time for the kids. Whether I'm tired or whether I'm whatever, I'm going to come home and I'm going to be present for them in every situation. Even, I know there's only so much time in the day, but yes, we absolutely discussed this, and I feel like it's an opportunity. There's that a window is open, and it's something that I'm extremely interested in, and she supports me 100%.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't believe anybody else has a question. Thank you very much for turning your application in and coming tonight. The weather's not conducive to meetings, but we managed to get through it, and I appreciate you very much for coming forth.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
You ready to write that up?
Apparently that's what he thinks.
Yeah. I guess if y'all don't have any objection, we'll go ahead and bring Dr. Lyles in. Y'all ready? Anybody need a break before we bring Dr. Lyles in? You good? Fred, you're among friends here tonight, so come up here and tell us your life story in 3 minutes. When you get your documents handed out there, just feel free to come up here to the microphone, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're applying for the job, and then we'll start asking you questions. We'll ask you the hard ones.
First question is why I'm applying for the job.
You can pull that down to you, Fred.
Thank you. I think it'd be expansion of my medical career. It's something I haven't done, and I think it'd be interesting and challenging. And I look forward to working with the team and go from there.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then they'll start asking you questions.
Okay. Was born in Jonesboro, Arkansas area, and I lived there until I finished high school, and then worked some public jobs, mostly factories. It was Singer plant in Truman, Arkansas. Then I joined the Army, and in the Army, I was fortunate enough to get accepted to the counterintelligence school, for which I worked as a counterintelligence, doing investigations and interviews and counter-espionage and sabotage. And then after 4 years in the Army, I attended ASU and graduated there 85 in medical school. Well, correct me, that's 81. And then I went on to med school from 81 to 85. I did an internship in Baptist downtown Memphis in 85, 86, and finished my residency in El Dorado. And I've been here in Hot Springs since 88, private practice for 13 years. And I've done ER off and on, even during my family practice. I worked in the ER, and I've had 25, 30 years experience in the emergency room.
Okay. Justice Broughton?
With your current workload, do you think you'd be able to take on the extra 40, 50 or more hours with the coroner?
I don't think that'd be a problem at all. My schedule's real flexible.
Okay.
I do not do shift work.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I guess my question would be, are you certified with the certificates and things that the coroner would be required to have starting now?
I'm not certified currently, but I would be completing that in the next year.
So knowing that, because the coroner's salary is kind of based on certification, and if you didn't have the certifications, then you might not be getting the expected pay. So would that have an effect on you?
No, sir.
Okay. One last question. I was looking at your application and down where it talks about the work hours and availability. And I noticed that you or somebody checked full time.
Say again, sir?
Down where it talks about the hours available to work, I see down there where it's checked full time. Would you be able to work full time?
Yes, sir, I would be.
How so, if you've got a current job?
My current job is very flexible, and I don't have to go in any certain times. I can do that my hospital role in any hours of the day. But I may even consider quitting the hospital work.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lyles, thank you for coming in for interview. Uh, to follow up on what you just said, did you say that you are going to continue keeping your job, or you're going to your
I'll
current
have to
position?
consider terminating my hospital job.
Okay, thank you. I have this question. What do you think sets you apart from the other applicants that make you best for the position?
Probably my 25, 30 years experience as a ER physician.
Is there anything in addition to that?
And my counterintelligence background, doing investigations and interviews.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Jimmy Young, Justice Peace District 4. I asked the previous candidate who is in the medical field, you probably worked through the pandemic with something that would exponentially send the time and labor and intensity of this job working the other job as well, which would be affected by something like the pandemic that we experienced. Could you work through both of those?
As I said, I would have to consider terminating my hospital position. But yes, I could work through them if need be. I get COVID 3 times and continue to work, except for the required absence I had to go through.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
It says that you've supervised mid-level providers. Is that a team? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Basically, it's a team. My team currently consists of either 2 nurse practitioners or a PA and a nurse practitioner. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Lyles Dayton Myers, JP7. First of all, thank you for your service to our military. Greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Working at Health Star out on Airport Road, you may have answered this already, but approximately how many hours a week do you work there? I know your schedule's flexible, but if you could give a approximation.
I do not work in the clinic. I'm a hospitalist for the Health Star Physicians Group. That allows my schedule to be flexible. Average 3 hours in the hospital, and then I'm on call every other day for after hours.
So you're not working 40 hours a week right now by any means?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll be honest, out of all of the applicants so far, you definitely have the most impressive resume as far as medical background. All of the different hospitals you worked at and internships and everything is very impressive. And you also sit on a board of directors that I think very highly of at Champion Christian College. There's a lot of good people and good men and women that sit on that board. So I thank you for putting in your application. And just one last question I've asked of everybody else. What is your political affiliation?
I'm a conservative and attend Gospel Light Baptist Church.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jason Brazil, District 8. This is an appointment to finish out a term, and I just wanted to know if you're aware that if you do this, that you would not be able to run for the actual coroner position for the full term afterward.
I'm aware of it, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Brian Peters, District 9. My question would be just give us one thing that you would bring to Garland County if you were chosen to be the coroner for Garland County. What one attribute or one thing you would like to tell us that you could bring that possibly none of the other candidates might bring or different?
Background as a counterintelligence officer and my years of medical practice, I think it brings a lot more than the other candidates do because of that. And I look forward to the challenge of the job and position.
Debbie McGrew, Justice of the Peace, District 10. Would you consider, if you were appointed this position, would you keep the current staff as it is, or is that something that you would be looking to bring in, your own staff, that type of thing?
I would keep the current staff and evaluate them if I'm accepted to the position. And with their input and discussions with them, make determinations if we need to make changes in the staff. But currently, I would maintain the current staff.
Dr. Lyle Nub Hunter, JP11. Ms. McGrew here asked the question I had planned, but if you got appointed and the current staff chose to leave, how would we handle, and I say we handle that?
That'd be interesting. We'd have to look for new candidates to replace the staff and hopefully have qualified applicants on file with the office.
Well, one candidate mentioned earlier, as of today, 120 calls they had worked since the first of the year. That's a lot of calls that could have.
It's a demanding position here in Hot Springs, probably more demanded than a similar city of its same size of population.
Thank you.
Jeremy Brown, JP12. If you found yourself on a call out by yourself, how confident are you in your ability to handle all aspects of that, of what needs to take place on site?
With my background in intelligence stuff, I feel comfortable maintaining the scene and investigating appropriately.
Thank you.
Doctor, this job is one of being an active coroner as well as being administrative of the coroner's office. Do you see yourself more as an active role coroner, an administrator, combination of the two? How do you view that?
In position, I'd be a combination of the two, administrator and the active coroner.
Have you, or are you familiar with our morgue and know the operations there from the standpoint of the physical plant?
I've not been into the morgue itself.
Okay. Have you done coroner's work in your profession at any time?
No, sir.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any more questions for Dr. Lyles? Jason?
Yes, sir. How would you, this goes back to the job itself. How would you communicate with family members when notifying them of their relative's death?
As I have as years as ER, pronouncing people and dealing with family members compassionately and with dignity.
Any other questions?
Just one. Dr. Lyles, you may have kind of said this already, but just out of curiosity, why are you seeking the appointment to be coroner? What motivated you to seek the position?
I think it'd be an expansion of my medical career. It's be something new, but it also entails investigations, which goes back to my counterintelligence experience and days in the Army. Yes, sir.
Anything else? Anybody else have a question? Dr. Lyles, if you want to expand on anything you've said or tell us something more about yourself or some reason you should be appointed, feel free to. You've got a few minutes left here, and I'll be glad to let you expand on anything you wanted to about this.
Well, I've been in Hot Springs for 35 years, and this community has been real good to me. And being a coroner would be paying back something to the community, which they well deserve.
If anybody doesn't have any follow-up questions, then we'll be through for the evening. Dr. Lyles, thank you so much for applying and coming up this evening. Appreciate it very much, and you'll be hearing from us no matter what.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.